human beings, we have this gap, this place in between immediate action and our capacity to choose how we want to act in the world, how we want to move in the world. Through actions comes interactions. Through interactions comes emergence. Through emergence comes a new world. And so often underneath action itself is the desire to create something, to build something, to create a world that we want to live in. But what happens when changing our actions isn't enough? What happens when we keep trying things, we keep doing more things, we keep acting in certain ways, but yet we don't live in the world that we want to be in? That there are moments when we find that changing the way that we move in the world isn't sufficient. Now at Newfield, we have a model that's called the OR model. It's really the heart of where transformation begins. And so what I'd like to do is introduce this model to you to help us explore action and yet situate it within a larger context that might open some possibilities for each of us. So the OR is an acronym, and the R stands for reality. It can also stand for results. Often when we don't like the reality that we find ourselves in, we use our capacity of choice to engage with new actions. This is, it's intuitive. It's like, well, I don't like what's happening, so I'm going to try to act differently. I'm going to try to act differently. And there are moments when this works out for us, at least for a while. We don't like the world that we're living in. We don't like something, there's some issue in our relationships, or there's some issue at the workplace. We don't like the way things are. We feel like there needs to be change. There needs to be change. And so often the way that we go about enacting that change is through changing how we act. Now, this can work sometimes, but often it leads, again, we find ourselves in a cycle where I'm trying harder, I'm doing more, I'm trying to act in a different way, and yet I end up with the same results. I end up with the same reality. And this often um, leads us to sort of living in a world where suffering is perpetuated, where suffering is perpetuated. Now, there's another possibility here. Another possibility is that we take a look at the observer that we are, the observer that is available to us by way of this sacred gap, this space between the knower and the known. Instead of just focusing on changing our actions or doing more actions and hope that if we just do more, everything will get better, there's an invitation here to look at who is the one making the meaning that's leading to those actions, that's leading to that experience of reality. One way of looking at it is to say, well, before anything else, there is an observer, there's a perspective, there's a lens or a series of lenses through which we're looking that is then informing our actions, informing our interactions, leading to this world that we find ourselves in. So our observer is the deep structures of how we make meaning. And when we apply our capacity for choice to shifting our observer, it tends to make all the difference. Those, because we've all had the experience where we don't like the way something is going in our lives and we say, I'm going to do something different, right? Um, I'm not going to eat all the bags of potato chips in my house. And maybe we pull it off for a week or 2 weeks. But then next thing you know, we're eating those chips again. And we're trying our best to will our way into a new behavior, to will our way into a new reality. And yet there's a point where our willpower sort of fails us for various reasons. And we end up doing the same old, same old. The invitation here is that instead, we look at what is the place from which I'm coming from. What's going on there? Because if I can uh, turn my attention towards that, rather than trying to will myself into a new way of acting, there's a whole landscape of potential transformation and deep, deep change that can occur.